Ooh, this is exotic. Muscle Cat Media. Nice. Cultural.
Well, the Home Run Derby is done and dusted. If you didn't join us yesterday, you should have, because Spoon and I are just off the Amalfi Coast at the moment with the winnings that we collected from the Home Run Derby yesterday. Eric wasn't here. Eric didn't listen. Eric didn't watch the Home Run Derby, but he's with us now. He's with us now to talk about the All-Star game. Eric, how are you?
Well, fellas, I have turned on my phone, and I had about 186 messages in our group chat, which is just too many to go back and read. I'm actually
That's just a Monday, dude. That's just any given Monday.
Yeah, it is.
And none of them were useful, right? It was just, wow, OMFG.
Yeah,
this is epic.
Yeah.
I think at one point
told you what was happening. You just knew something was happening. That's all. Yeah, that's all it was. It wasn't. We weren't breaking news. We were just kind of rattling.
Well, my favorite
It's like
part
my
is
Jeff Hoffman messages.
I messaged the chat. Let me go back to it. It's actually pretty funny. I had a good laugh at this. I said, so yeah, you go, Jesus makes it tough. Crowd is great. Fair pull. Oh my God. This is epic. And then Spoon with some explicitives. And I go, I've been busy. What has been happening? And then the response was, man, I wanted him to hit the Selly so bad. I hope Jordan hits 15. Tie break. That was sick. This is fun.
We just didn't even acknowledge that you had entered the chat. We were like, bro,
it sounds like a Twitch stream chat, right? Like people just reacting to someone else playing video games, just being like, wow, cool, with like a bunch of emojis.
So then I Googled Home Run Derby, and I saw that Jordan Walker won. And I also Googled Junior Caminero, because he's an ABL guy, just to see how he did. And I saw he lost in the semis. And that's literally all I know about the Home Run Derby. So I am hoping that you guys can recap me. But I was busy doing baseball things, to be fair. So I'll give you the update in my world. This is the Expats podcast. But Johnny Lem just signed with the St. Louis Cardinals, Rolsey. John Lem played at Alabama in the SEC, but he's from Brisbane, right? Played Little League. You called him playing Little League baseball.
Played in the College World Series this year with Blake Cavell.
You literally called him in Lisbon this year playing a game, which is kind of cool.
That.
And now he signed with St. Louis, so we got a bit of media on that.
He and Blake Cavell, I both called in the same Little League. I would be surprised if Blake Cavell didn't end up somewhere on some sort of deal at some point post-draft.
I have knowledge of some Aussie guys that might end up signing somewhere. That's all I can say. But no, it was kind of
is this a scoop pod now?
Yeah, it sounds like
it's kind of and it's kind of cool because like you do get to be around that, and that's one part I do love about the Baseball Australia job, right? Is like you get to talk to Johnny. I was lining up some interviews with him on ABC in Brisbane. Like it's his moment. It's his day. It's so cool to see how proud the Australian baseball community is to see a guy get signed by an MLB team after a great college year. That was cool. And then I was doing some stuff in prep for the Women's World Cup, which starts next week. Maybe next week. We won't do a full coverage of it, but I think it's probably worth on this pod that I would love to give me. I want to use the floor next week, probably on Friday after Australia's played a couple games, to give some updates about how Australia are doing in the Women's World Cup in Rockford, and then the WPBL starting. So there's so much cool stuff happening in the baseball world right now, right? You got the draft, you've got the All-Star game, you've got players signing, you've got the indie ball season getting a shake-up, you've got Korean leagues getting new imports. Liam Hendricks is on the doorstep of coming back. Like there's just so many little cool things that I've been working on in the Australian baseball world that I did miss the All-Star game, but like I feel like it's for good reason. It was all in the name of baseball. So
you didn't miss the All-Star game. That's tomorrow.
I will be watching that because like
AL Cy Young winning starting
for
pitcher.
Literally my job, which is kind of cool, right? Like the job is to just watch the All-Star game, and if Travis Bazzana does literally anything, send a press release out. Sick.
He's back.
It's a good gig that you've got. And look, you can talk about whatever you want to. You as one of our great comedy podcast friends of the show say, you own 1/3 of this RSS feed, so you can do whatever, which is fitting, right? Because you're only here a third of the time. Spoon. So Eric didn't see.
Doesn't that give him like a ninth of the feed?
No, the way
it's not a math pod.
What he's referring to, Spoon, is like we could enter the scenario where if things get ugly between us, how it would work is every 3 episodes, I would have my own show, and it would just be called The Eric Show, and it would show up on the Expats, and I would just talk about like Johnny Lem and Samantha Hamilton.
It wouldn't be a different show. Same RSS feed where it's just me and Spoon
same baseball
2/3 of the
Expats.
time, and Eric
And
on
then
his
it'd
own,
just be like undiluted, like just straight to the bloodstream kind of stuff.
just
and then
talking to
you
the
two
photos
would
on his
have
wall.
a show, the other 2 ones, but you couldn't be on mine, and I couldn't be
The
on
Survivors.
yours.
Yeah.
It's so
And we'd
strange,
have
but that's
to-
what
we'd have
could
to-
happen.
Baseball
we'd have to
Confederates.
change the name. Yeah, let's hope that we get big enough to have that issue.
But tell me,
so-
fellas, I want to hear about this. What on earth was this commotion about? Like, was it actually that good? Like, because honestly, home run derbies sometimes kind of suck. I'm going to be 100% honest. Sometimes they're not that good and entertaining.
I think the new format was brilliant. Like Barry Bonds said afterwards, it's the best one he's seen. The new format worked, and it worked so well because it went close. And I think, Rolsey and I, to pat ourselves on the back, we kind of nailed the field. There were a couple of guys there making up numbers. Like Jack Caglione was just there because they needed an 8th guy, and he kind of performed as much. But I think it was really cool to see a couple of the guys that we picked going, deeper into it. Contreras was awesome in that first round. Jordan Walker was awesome, obviously went the whole way. Murakami, I thought, was a strange pick, just given he hadn't really swung a bat for a couple of months, and that kind of showed. But yeah, I mean, the way the semis were set up, Eric, so top of the top 4 in order it was a tie between Contreras and Jordan Walker, but Contreras hit one further, which was the tiebreak. They both had 13.
Way. How far does he hit?
Caminero,
How far were people cranking things?
there was a 490 from Contreras.
No
Nuts.
freaking
One of the markets
way.
we touched on yesterday was there was a prop bet on Bet365 furthest home run, and the line was 483.5. And dude, Contreras went first, and it was probably the 3rd swing he took. He just obliterated it. So they both had 13. I think Caminero had 11 or 12, and then the last 2 guys to go were Schwarber and Harper, and there'd been kind of 3 stinkers before him. Like Ben Rice wasn't great, Jack wasn't great. So it came down to who was going to get 10-ish to get in. Schwarber got 10, Harper needed 10 to get past him. And the crowd was electric, man. Not so much in the group stage. Yeah. They were just cheering their guys. But once it got to the semis, which were Junior, who was a little bit disappointing, and Jordan Walker kind of dealt with him easily. But then it was Contreras versus Schwarber. And dude, the boos every time Contreras either took a pitch, he didn't even swing, or he got a home run, were electric. And the jeers when he fouled one off or just hit a line drive were probably the most hostile I've seen in baseball.
It was
maybe
the
ever.
weirdest thing, right? Because watching it, and we'll get to the final here in a second, but you're right. It started in that semifinal between Schwarber and Contreras. When Contreras hit a pop-up, you would thought the Phillies had won the World Series, dude. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
It was crazy. Yeah.
It was
because
hostile.
they were
But
obviously
Contreras
cheering
loves
for
that.
Schwarber.
He loves that, he loves that cauldron too. So he's kind of grinning, and then he deliberately took 3 pitches, and the ADHD crowd, who had to wait 10 seconds to see ball go burr, were booing even louder at that point. And it came down to he needed a home run off the last 2 balls to knock out Schwarber. Didn't get it, and the crowd went ballistic. And then the stage was set for Jordan Walker in the final.
Did he intentionally take some balls just to kind of screw with the crowd?
Yeah. He was feeding. He was feeding off the hatred. It was wicked. I had a lot more respect for Contreras because normally he's been a bit of a hothead, right? He's serving a suspension right now. He's had a few moments the last few weeks where you're dude, chill. Watching him embrace the villain role in Philly against a Philly legend in Kyle Schwarber was just epic. And as we were watching it, Rolsey and I this is going to be tough for Jordan Walker because it honestly felt like that crowd situation was a 1 or 2 home run swing, and that's all that Schwarber needed to get past Contreras. It was that close, and you kind of felt like the same thing was about to happen in the final. But given it was a Cardinals player, I think Rolsey can do the play-by-play for us in the
but
the
I
final.
think going into it, you would have favored Schwarber because of the environment.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
Also, he got to back up so quickly, right? They talked about this with Contreras, and I think the commentary also was spectacular, right? I could listen.
Who called it?
It was Matt
Vesgergen.
Matt Vesgergen. You had Barry Bonds.
Just a few Santa Maria calls when one went
Barry Bonds
450.
was doing the color for it.
Albert Pujols was on there as well.
Rizzo.
Hunter Pence was part of it. Anthony Rizzo. The coverage was exceptional. It was great because it wasn't trying to be anything it wasn't. And they just had the right mix of personalities and clearly guys that have been in there. And then the on-field interviews and stuff during and between rounds was great. But you knew it was going to be tough for Schwarber or tough for Walker because Schwarber had just gone. And I don't know why he went first in the final. I assume it because he was the lower ranked player.
It was the lowest score, yeah.
Well,
group
but
stages.
Walker at a lower score because they both had the same.
It was from the original
total.
seeding, the seeding
Right,
pre-semis.
okay.
So
The
because
1 to
Walker
4,
was the 2 seed and Schwarber was
the 4.
the 4 seed, Walker ended up going second. So look, Schwarber beats Contreras and then immediately gets to go again and hits 11 home runs on 15
So it's over.
balls.
He's going to win.
Yeah, like it just felt like a foregone conclusion. The
And
place
the
was
last
going,
ball, Eric, because it was like if you hit the magenta ball, you can keep going. It was like the money ball off the money rack in, a 3-point contest. No one was able to pick up. I don't know if it was spin rate or what, but like throughout the whole day, no one had hit one of the pink ones for even one extra freebie. And Schwarber got one. Schwarber got one of the pink ones, and it felt like that was a big one. And it set the stage then for Walker to need to do that 4 times.
Yeah, so Schwarber, in essence, hit 11 off of 16 balls, right? Because he got that extra pitch. Because you couldn't end on a home run. If you hit a home run on your last ball, you got to keep hitting until you didn't hit a home run. So
it's like bowling, right? Strike. You just keep going.
Well, that's I think Matt Vasgersian kind of made that reference, right? He was like
a strike in the last frame.
Ball, roll again.
It was a great call.
Yeah, it was great. So look, Jordan Walker kind of started slow. And it was starting to look like he just wasn't, like, to the point to where the camera was mostly fixated on Kyle Schwarber. I think at one point,
hugging his kids.
I think at one point Walker needed
Walker as well.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
It probably wasn't quite as hostile as Contreras's. Like Contreras,
understandable though.
I don't know, man. And Contreras was feeding off it as well. Walker was just like, he honestly looked like he had ice in his veins. He didn't even seem to care. Like if they were booing, he didn't notice, and because he didn't give them anything, it seemed like they kind of dropped off. And then when he kind of started making the run as well, I think they were a little bit speechless. Like he actually silenced the crowd. Whereas just watch Contreras' semifinal, I've not seen such a hostile baseball crowd.
Yeah, it's like in a home run derby, right? I don't know that we've ever seen a hostile crowd in a home run derby, and like fans upset when dudes hit homers. Like it was
so
exceptionally
Philly. That's
quiet.
the most Philly thing you're saying.
Yeah,
they were booing the kids
quiet.
if the kids didn't catch the fly balls in center. Like if a kid dropped it, they were booing the like. These kids are like 6 years old, man.
So then what happened? What did Jordan do?
Well, so at every homer that Walker hit, it was exceptionally quiet because I think as he started to kind of heat up, the fans were like, "Oh no, this isn't good." But it got to a point, I want to say, where Walker needed 5 off of 6. And then he had a little bit of a blip on the radar. So it became pretty evident with about 4 balls left that he still had to hit 6 home runs. So it was like, in order for him to do this,
it was like Eric having, -3 of his 4. It was that kind of baseball math.
Yeah, it was like you needing a 25-point round on the final day of Destiny Draft. And so it became evident that, like, once he got to, I think, 2 balls left, I want to say that he was down 4.
Yeah.
So it meant that he had to hit 5 home runs in a row in order to win the thing. And that's exactly what he did. And
off the magenta ball?
Yeah. And he was so
wasn't
measured.
Even the white ball.
He got the white. I think his second last one, his 14th, was a white one. He hit that to even set up the what if, but even the what if was insane. Like Schwarber had hit the only magenta ball, out of all of these guys, and it seemed like it was a genuine. I don't know. They couldn't pick up the spin, or they weren't seeing it that well, or what it was, because almost all of them were like pop foul, right? Like a lot of them were. Yeah. It was interesting. It was definitely hard. It didn't seem like anyone was about to go up and hit 2, let alone 4.
I need to watch this immediately. Like as soon as this recording ends, I am putting it on.
It was a pretty epic finish. And the way Walker was so measured, they kept talking about it on the coverage too, like that he was just kind of wise beyond his years because he would step back. Again, like I said, I think he needed 3 homers to tie. He had 3 sudden death balls, essentially, where it was like, homer, this thing's over. And then when he tied it, he just kind of stepped back, relaxed for a second, took 2 pitches, and then...
It was like, job's already done, right? I've already kind of done the impossible. This is house money. You knew when he tied it, he was going to win it.
Yeah. It felt like that because he just was so measured. And I mean, like, I've seen that from him all year. When he comes to the plate in a big spot, his facial expression doesn't change. It almost looks like you're trying to wake him up. You're like, hey, man.
He looks stoned, man. Like, in the best way possible. He just kind of looks stoned. It's like nothing was phasing him. His parents are there. Jordan's mom on the back. Jordan's dad on the back. Like, custom St. Louis jerseys. It was awesome.
He's going to be so fun to watch in the playoffs for the Cardinals this year when they make a couple big deals at the deadline and bring some guy.
when they get Zach Gallen.
Cardinals are buying.
Off the back of his home run derby win. So again, if you haven't watched it, we kind of ruined it for you just now. But then again, why are you listening to this show that clearly says it's a home run derby recap with an all-star game preview? But Eric, I encourage you to go watch it. The other thing that I found interesting is Jordan Walker's current salary through arbitration is like $950,000. and he won $1 million for winning the home run derby. So that's good work from him. Maybe it means
He's now
that we'll
the
get a little
highest
bit
paid player on that St. Louis roster.
Yeah, but maybe it means we'll get a little bit of a break in arbitration this year if he keeps going the way that he.
Do we
is.
need to up that? I mean, that's a lot of money for these guys, but the fact that a lot of the top players are saying no, like if baseball yesterday, Eric Rolsey and I said like, who are the 8 guys we want right now doing this? And I think only 1 or 2 of them were in the final field. To get a Jordan there instead of a Jack Caglione.
Is it a $10 million competition?
Yeah, like obviously there's a money point, right? Where it's like, yeah, I might screw up my swing, but $10 million for an hour's work, I'd be mad not to. Like $1 million is already pretty generous, I think. But the reality is a lot of the superstars are saying no. And Juan Soto makes about $1 billion a year. So we're not going to get him back without maybe dangling a little carrot somewhere else.
These are still big stars though that are playing, right? And like I kind of love that Jordan Walker got the opportunity. Mid-market team. People get around like that. That's cool. That's a nice touch. I love that. I'm going to be watching this the second this ends. The second. I might even just start now. I'm actually going to do that. I'm going to put it on.
Make sure you mute the booze. I've heard enough Philly booze for a lifetime.
It'll be hard for anything that we do in the next half hour to be more entertaining than what that was today. But again, if you haven't watched it, I do encourage you to go do it. Once my wife gets home, I might set her down and force feed her the home run derby.
Sophia
which you
had
should
to
do.
watch it. Sorry, Sophia got to watch it. It was. I make that sound like a negative.
Her choice.
She relished it. Yeah.
Look, Spoon and I should pat ourselves on the back because if you were with us yesterday, I think we gave you. Look, we threw a lot of things out yesterday, Spoon, but a lot of the things that we were pretty confident in ended up coming in. I mean, you said the best bet was going to be over 74.5 home runs in the first round, and we got that comfortably. Bryce Harper needed to hit 2 homers. He was the last man to hit. That was comfortable. We thought that the over 483.5 feet for the longest home run would be a comfortable bet. And I think Wilson Contreras got that on his 4th home run. He was the first guy to hit.
30 seconds in. Easy watch.
That's like a first basket bet. That's like a win it in a minute bet in the NBA because like Spoon was like, is it really this easy? Like this just feels like money for jam. The other one that you liked was Wilson Contreras to get out of the first round, which was $2.60. There was actually both he and Jordan Walker were plus money to get out of the first round. And I had the Jordan Walker ladder going all the way. So I said, back him to get out of the first round, which was about $2.50, I think. Back him to get into the semis, which was around $5. And then he was paying, around $7.50 or $8 to win the thing. So if you tuned in yesterday and you followed Spoon and I, which, is fraught with danger, especially in something that's a novelty like the home run derby. But if you were,
it's going to be a bumpy ride.
If you were game enough to follow us yesterday, you'd be on the Amalfi Coast like Spoon and I are. So it was a pleasure doing business with you yesterday, Spoon. We're going to try and do it again here shortly for the All-Star game.
Absolutely.
But, it's safe to say that we pretty well nailed it yesterday.
Yeah, it was good fun. And I think, you go into those, you stake a little bit less than usual because it is a bit of fun. But a lot of our thesis was based around like, why is Murakami $5.50? That's crazy. And why is Kyle Schwarber $4? And he shortened into $3.40 this morning. And look, I know he nearly won the thing, but he also nearly got bounced in the first round. And I think when we identified it was a pretty open field, that meant that playing around some of these guys like a Jordan Walker. I mean, I had a bit on Contreras to make the final at $5.50, and he was pretty stiff not to because he had the best first round of anyone and only fell a home run short in pretty, vile Philadelphia conditions.
Yeah, well, I mean, Contreras hit the most home runs of anybody combined in the first 2 rounds. So it is, he's a bit hard done by, which after 2 rounds you get the most home runs. But because of the bracket and the way the semifinals are structured, that's the way the cookie crumbles. But no, it was a fun day. Safe to say the home run derby is back. It's a 10 out of 10 for me in terms of the new format. I think you sort of feel the same way, Spoon. And Eric, maybe we'll get your opinion on that after you watch it.
I think it'll encourage some of these guys. Like when you've got Barry Bonds saying that was the best one ever, I feel like a Pete Alonso is going to want to come back in this new format and do it again.
Want to,
right?
Barry might.
If he's still got those Cuban supplements, I think he's every chance.
I don't see any reason why we shouldn't just let him be on the Cuban supplements and take hacks. I was listening to a Mookie Betts podcast. I don't know why. Several weeks ago when they were talking about Barry Bonds. Yeah, when they were talking about Barry Bonds.
All that Dodger propaganda, boys.
Mookie reckons that he could hit 300 today, Barry, which is high praise from, a future Hall of Famer in Mookie Betts because Barry Bonds will never be there because it's a farce. But anyways, we don't have enough time to get into that today. If you were with us yesterday, we touched on Destiny Draft briefly. We mentioned that it was essentially a 3-horse race that I still managed to finish last in.
Well, wait, hold
somehow,
on.
some way.
Was there a Destiny draft?
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, there was a
Eric
3-team
stayed
Destiny
in the
draft.
gates.
You guys got to let me know next time this happens.
I choose not.
Someone's got to let Logan Webb know.
I missed the memo.
So if you were with us yesterday,
I'd love to take part.
The listener spot.
Ibbo got the win for the listener spot at 49 points, which is one shy of the season record total. Spoon had 50 in round 3. Spoon ended second on 41. Rolsey at 36. And Eric running a race of his own at the bottom of that graph at baseballexpats.com with 6 points. But yeah, I mean, everything went wrong for you, right? Byron Buxton didn't go on the IL and then played and then went on the IL. William Contreras wasn't great. And Logan Webb, I don't know if he was he pitching with the correct arm or was he trying to do a Durangelo CJ and try and become ambidextrous? I don't know what was. I didn't watch any of Logan Webb during the last fortnight, and I didn't have to because I was able to check the scoreboard and see what happened. So what that now does for the season standing, Spoon does still have the lead on 14 total points. Spoon also has the most points accumulated with 175. But the listener spot, man, these listeners they're doing well. They're schooling us. I mean, by virtue of having that win, the listeners now won twice.
Imagine
Spoon has won twice. Yeah, the listeners on 11 points. Eric now on 9, and I am on 6. Interestingly enough, I do have 5 total points more than Eric does, but I'm 3 points behind him in the season standings. Where that leaves us is we will do another Destiny draft on Monday. And again, the listener spot, it's in second place. This is a great chance for somebody to jump in. Hit us up on Instagram. Hit us up on baseballexpats.com if you want to get involved. We would love to have you. And when else do you get to jump into the middle of a competition where you're second on the table and can potentially pull the boys ahead? So if you want to get involved, hit us up on any of those platforms. And boys, before we open the floor for your thoughts on round number 4, let's hear from the champ himself.
What a fortnight for Team Listener. I gave the boys a pep talk at the start of the fortnight. Said, we have one goal, stay off the injured list. And they came through, scored plenty of points. Ellie's stepping up towards the back end of this week. And then Kevin, as much as he didn't get a W today against the Padres, he got a W for the listeners. We're the winners for the fortnight. Time to keep it rolling after the All-Star break.
I tell you what, man, like these listeners are too humble, in my opinion. We heard that from the Canary whenever he won a couple rounds back. He was very humble.
Don't say you were lucky, dude. Say you fucking schooled us. Say you did more in an hour's work than we've done in 2 years on this show. Like, let us have it.
Yeah, please do. But that's very Ibbo for you as well. He kind of had a little shot at us too, being like, I just picked players that weren't on the IL. Like.
So did we, and then they went there.
Well, yeah, I love that he was just praying like the entire time, going, just please don't get injured. Please don't get injured. And boy, I tell you what, like his team, like the way Ellie came good late in the round was great for him. I mean, he still struck out 17 times, but Ellie really had a late surge in that second week. But Kevin Gossman was exceptional in those 2 starts. I mean, Bryce Miller
he took him off the back of like some shaky starts. Yeah, right? Like Gossman was getting smoked for about 3 starts when he took him. So it was a ballsy play to go against the trend.
I mean, obviously I watched the Jays religiously, and that was on the Sunday start. And I think earlier in the day, you might have even took the lead, Spoon, like barely. Before
I was up by 1 before Gossman started, which is not like I had 2 days of J-Rod. And I did put the mocker on Rolsey on our Friday episode. I was like, look, I'm destined for 3rd here. You're going to hit 50. Ibbo's going to hit 50. I wasn't even trying to do the thing. I kind of accidentally did the thing. So apologies for that, my friend. But yeah.
So the situation was he was 1 behind when Gossman started. And then Gossman got like 2 strikeouts early. And then Ibbo sends this big text being like, it's the All-Star break. Just get him out of there and go full bullpen. Like,
Job's done. Job's done. I mean, I can't believe I got 26 from Nolan McLean. I know Look, Ibbo got a little bit of help. I got a little bit of help with the earned runs versus unearned runs, little technicality. But I mean, even if you add a couple of those unearned runs to McLean, 26 points in 3 starts is superb. And, I do have the minor disadvantage of picking the 4th and 5th guys every time we do this. So I was pretty happy to end up with him. Jack kind of came good. 10 was right around what I was hoping for, really, when you're picking a position player in 3rd. It's just what could have been, I guess, for me if J-Rod didn't get beamed in the head on a throw on like day 2, because that 7-day IL concussion. Any other round, right? Like so any other round that's not leading into the All-Star break, he probably comes back after 7 days. But he was eligible to return on Friday, and they're obviously like, dude, just take another week.
Yeah.
It's the All-Star break. So
Yeah.
it is what it is. I thought the undrafted leaderboard was really interesting. Like 2 starting pitchers that no one would have touched with a 10-foot pole, right? Kyle Freeland from the Rockies, Brady Singer from the Reds. Hunter Goodman was a name I think we all went back and forth on and probably could have taken, and he definitely would have swung some matchups depending if he went off the board. And then it's Brandon Garcia, a random middle reliever from the D-backs with 10 points. But there was no standout. There was just a lot of guys that, you know, if Rolsey takes any of these guys instead of Taylor Trammell, he probably goes past me, or he definitely goes past me. So was one of the weaker pulls we had, but as a result, the floor was probably higher, or at least closer to the ceiling.
Well, the interesting thing with that is if, say, Eric hadn't taken Buxton or Logan Webb and had taken Freeland and Brady Singer in a 2-pitcher lineup, he would have beaten me.
Thanks.
Yeah. I mean, it really could have gone anyway. Yeah. I remember Ibbo, like every single, I mean, Bryce Miller, I think he locked in pretty quickly, but he was umming and ahhing a lot on Kevin Gossman and Ellie De La Cruz, right? They both turned out to be great picks, but it just as easily could have been Kevin Gossman instead of Logan Webb, and this scoreboard turns upside down.
Yeah, and look, I like that we're sort of identifying that being in the high 40s to 50 is kind of the standard. I mean, that's pretty much where everybody has ended up. I mean, 44 won the first round, same for the second round, then 50 and 49. So we're identifying that you really do need to get to that midway spot in the 40s to have a chance to win the thing. And yeah, like we've talked about, experimenting with 2 starters. If you have the stock over two offensive players and how you play the deck, it's really coming together. Hopefully it comes together for me in the back half of the season. But again, if you do want to get involved, head to baseballexpats.com. You can click on the contact button, get in touch with us. Let us know if you want to get involved in Destiny Draft, or hit us up on Instagram. Well, boys, let's chat a little bit about the All-Star game. And just as I did yesterday, I thought maybe let's give a little bit of historical context from a betting standpoint, and then we'll dissect it as need be. Obviously, look, I think on paper, and it's probably the first time that this has happened in a while, the National League team probably looks stronger than the American League team, which is odd because it feels like the American League is always the favorite coming into this game, and they usually always win. But what interested me more is run totals and margins of All-Star games. And I thought that anecdotally, before I went and actually looked this up, that it would probably be much of a muchness, and it may be hard to find trends. But if you dig pretty deep, you can do so. So I went back and looked at the last 20 All-Star games, and the average combined score of those 20 games was 7.3 runs. Spoon, you may know this off the top of your head. You may have already looked at it. Is the over-under 7.5 for tomorrow?
It sure is.
Well, that would be why. So the median combined score is actually 7 runs.
Makes sense.
So 12 of the last 20 finished with 7 runs or fewer. 15 of the 20 finished with 8 runs or fewer. So, I mean, you're basically looking at 15 of 20 that are right around that 7.5 number. So when you think about it straight away, it almost feels like the under 7.5, if you can get it close to even money, is probably the play. But the other thing that interested me was the run differential, because it's actually wild when you go looking at run differentials in All-Star games, because, again, it's an exhibition game. And I guess we do have to take into account that within this 20-year span, there were those games that mattered, that decided home field advantage in the World Series, which just even saying it out loud is silly. But winning margin by exactly 1 run, you want to take a guess at how many times that would have hit in the last 20 years?
12, yeah, I would say.
It's 9, but within 2 runs have happened 15 times. So All-Star games are close, and they're low scoring. The other thing that I actually thought may be interesting to look at is a nerfy in the first round, because clearly you've got 2 great starting pitchers going, usually, and they know that they're going to throw 1 inning. Historically, maybe they've thrown 2. But the nerfy hit rate is exactly 50% in the All-Star game over the last 20 years, which is surprising to me. You would think with the caliber of All-Star pitchers that you would have starting games, that it would be maybe somewhere around 60, 65, 70% of no run scoring in the first inning, but it's actually bang on 50%. 10 of the last 20 years, a team has scored in the first round, which is is interesting. So
Well, I got the odds on that. Do you want to hazard a guess on the run first inning?
I would say the no is probably like $1.50.
$1.62, which makes the yes at 220 kind of tantalizing when you're saying it's happened 50% of the time, right? And you've got genuine home run power, 1, 2, 3 for both teams.
Yeah. Well, and it goes both ways too, right? Like, I mean, if there's absolutely no value in the Nerfy, then it makes sense to look at the value in the yes run in the first inning. And going both ways, I mean, yes, you've got good starting pitchers, but they're all-stars, right? You also have great offensive guys. The other thing that I want to quiz you on just quickly before we get to you, Eric, is obviously the all-star starters, Dylan Cease for Toronto, leading the American League with 148 strikeouts. Christopher Sanchez, former ABL pitcher, getting the start. He's got a sub-3 earned run average. Eric, I'll come to you first. Do you know who the last Blue Jays starting pitcher was in an all-star game?
Yeah, I actually know where you're going with this, and it's Doc
Well, don't
Halladay.
ruin it.
Doc Halladay.
Just give me an answer.
Yeah, Doc Halladay.
Okay. Well, Spoon, do you know who the last Philly was to start in an all-star game?
Is it the same guy?
It's the same guy. But you know that because Eric ruined it because he's
I didn't ruin it. I just said, yeah, I know where you're going with this. It's Doc Halladay.
He made it seem like it was a trick question to answer, and then I kind of just fumbled my way
guys
to it.
Guys always busting my balls. Anyways, you were going to say something, Eric. Floor is yours.
I was going to say, I would be inclined to take a look at that yes run first inning, just because guys are going to want to throw strikes, right? Like, you're not coming in there to walk anybody in an all-star game, like, and it doesn't really matter if you don't. Like, you kind of want to challenge the best on best. So I think Dylan Cease might be pounding that 98 mile per hour fastball just around the zone, and guys are going to know it's going to be coming because you're kind of tempted to just make sure strikes are thrown. And when you get strikes, you get something to hit, kind of like you're saying, Spoon. The other
is is the 1, 2, 3 he faces from the NL probably going to be Freddie Freeman, Kyle Schwarber, and Juan Soto? Because if that's the 1, 2, 3 he faces, then that's a dangerous place to be pounding the zone, right?
Yeah. And the other one is just like, I'm pretty excited. I think I kind of mentioned at the top of the show. It's a pretty cool opportunity. Like, once Travis Bazzana gets in that game, like, that will be on the news in Australia. It'll be on the Today Show. It'll be on the nightly news on 7. It'll be on the ABC. There's already interviews scheduled with Dave Nilsson before the game starts to talk about the moment. Like, I've been coordinating that all day, and it's really hard to get coverage of baseball in Australia when there is a good story. Like, Rolsey and I will talk about all these awesome stories all the time, and if the media had any half clue, they would cover them. But this is genuinely like an easy story to sell. Kid from Ku-ring-gai Steelers in his first year is an all-star. That is so freaking cool. And Australians
should be
very
starting at
proud
second base for the American League, just quietly, but that's a different conversation.
Ernie's objectively better, but, off we go.
Okay.
Eric's loyalties are really torn here.
Yeah.
But yeah, but when you just sort of briefly exited there, Eric, we were talking about the no-run first inning versus yes-run first inning betting, and it's split right down the middle in the last 20 years. So it's 50-50. There has and hasn't been a run. 10 times there has, 10 times there hasn't. And Spoon saying the betting is about $1.50 for the no, $2.30 for the yes. So that seems like a market that maybe we'll touch on and something that maybe we'll have a flutter. But Spoon, I'll come to you. What sort of markets are intriguing you for the All-Star game tomorrow?
Look, I'm actually going to go against a bit of your data there, just on the 7.5. And I thought
great,
I really liked the over. I really like the over.
Did you and Eric collude before we started? I was like, it feels like my cat jumps on the
I'm just
table
positioning
before.
myself for where I need to share my 33%. Like, if Eric has a breakaway show, maybe I can be welcome on that show.
Cool.
But still be a friend of your show as well, like the Switzerland of the group, right?
Good point.
The positioning and the posturing has already started. I was going to say my cat jumps on the desk right as soon as we start recording, so I thought maybe it was in our group chat. I was going to say maybe you and Eric have a separate group chat where it's let's just bring down Rolsey because that's what it feels.
Yeah,
like.
it is.
Breakaway.
It's your cat.
Yeah, it's
yeah. Look, I think you look at the last couple of years. It was 5-3 in 2024. It was 7-6 last year, right? And it went to that swing off. I feel like I sent you guys a thing a few weeks ago about how there's something that's changed with like the baseball drag rate this year. And it seems to happen before CBAs where the league, I'm not calling conspiracy, but maybe it is, wants more offense. And I don't think we're getting dead balls tomorrow. I think we're going to see balls that are flying. I think there's more and more concern around pitching injury. And it's a lot easier for organizations to go out to pitchers and say, give it 80%. You know, I know it's important to you, but you're lucky we're even letting you go. So give it 80%. Whereas the hitters are going out there to hit tanks. And if you look at more and more since they made it that, you know, teams need to send a representative. So the worst teams usually just have like a relief pitcher there. I think there's a good chance for the offense. And I'm probably going to have a little bit on the over 7.5 because like Rolsey and I said yesterday, why would you watch the home run derby and back the under 74.5 home runs? Like, what are we doing here? We're here to see all-stars and I want to see offense. So that's my main bet, but I do have a prop that I think is a little bit of fun. This is on Sportsbet. You could probably shop around and find a little bit better. Historically, you get at least 2 ABs as a starting position player. Last year, a lot of guys got 3. So you're looking at 2 to 3 chances for this to happen. I love Yordan Alvarez, 2 total bases, $3.30. He said no to the home run derby. He's just going to go and hit a home run tomorrow. If he doesn't, he could get 2 singles. He's the best hitter in baseball right now. He's got the power that gets gap-to-gap doubles effortlessly. You know, I think he's top 5 or something like that in doubles. He's a true hitting machine, and I think he's going to be second in that lineup most likely. He's going to get at least 2 chances, maybe 3, depends. You know, the problem is because he takes the DH spot, it's easier for them to share his spot around with other people. So I'm guessing he's going to be limited to 2. But you're giving me 2 shots at a home or a double, or hopefully maybe just a couple of singles. $3.30. I'm watching my guy, future AL MVP, Yordan Alvarez.
I've got a sneaky one for you too.
Mm-hmm.
As we've talked about, MVPs are narrative awards, right? That's who wins these things. I legitimately think, as Rolsey stated, you know, you're going to have a close game, as they normally are. It could be high scoring, whatever. We have watched Travis Bazzana come through with a huge clutch hit on a few numerous occasions at World Cups, whatever it is, when he makes his debut, all of that kind of stuff. I can just see in my mind, there's a scenario in like the 8th inning of a 5-5 game, and Bazzana is getting his at-bats when he gets called into the game. There's a couple guys on base, and he ends up hitting some kind of double with a big celebration that drives in a couple of runs. And because it's a narrative one, he gets given the MVP because he's a rookie, he's Australian, it's a cool story, and why not? Like, I think that's a legitimate scenario. Now, obviously, a lot of things have to line up. Got to be a close game. He's got to be in that spot. But we've watched this guy be clutch time and time again, most recently at the World Baseball Classic. He would be paying a ridiculous amount just to put some stupid small amount on it and just to cheer for that as a homer bet, which is what I'm going to do.
I think if we're talking narrative for the All-Star MVP, thinking a similar line but very different age bracket, Mike Trout, man. Won it in 2014, 2015, gets the start tomorrow. He has been hurt a little bit this season, but you remember early season, he looked as good as he'd ever looked.
Yeah.
Like it felt like Mike Trout was back. I mean, even we were loosely chatting about him in the MVP conversation after like week 2 when, you know, award voting doesn't matter at all. But I think Mike Trout, he's going to get the opportunity to have at least 2 ABs, maybe 3 as a starter. If he hits a home run, which he's done in All-Star games before, obviously you need the AL to win and they're underdogs. It's very rare to see the MVP come from a losing team. But I think Mike Trout could be a sneaky little pick for that because all eyes are on some of the right now guys and not the, you know, the former guys. But Mike Trout at his best is still as good as baseball's seen, and you've got the narrative there for him.
And it is interesting. That is a great narrative. You're right, because if you take a look at some of the All-Star games MVPs in the past, they are all narrative driven, right? Jaron Duran won one with Boston.
Like Elias Diaz. Like I had completely forgotten about that. Like you're right. 2 of the last 3, barring Schwarber last year, were late inning guys for that purpose, right? If you think it's going to be a close game, somebody's going to have a moment off the bench.
Pick a bench guy.
Yeah, it's just who is going to be that guy off the bench that has a moment. If you think it's going to be a blowout, if you think it's going to be
Corbin
a blowout,
Carroll.
Yeah, it could be
100%. Like that's the exact same logic, right?
He hits a triple, right? Because he's baseball's best triples guy. Then he steals home or something random like that because he's Corbin Carroll and he's the fastest man alive. Yeah, I'll be fluttering. I'll be fluttering on some of these for sure. Yeah, it won't be a pitcher.
Have a few Smokies in there.
So Spoon, having a look at over 75. What is that, around $1.90?
Over 75.
Over 7.5. So
we'll be in for a treat. Yeah, $1.90 over 7.5.
Yeah, you'd have to equal. You would equal what happened in the first round of the home run derby today. So over 7.5 runs tomorrow at $1.90. And then looking at Jordan to get 2 or more total bases. Yeah, I believe Shane Bieber won the All-Star Game MVP. I don't remember what year that was. 2019? Yeah, I think it was the one before the cancellation. I don't know why.
2019 was
Bieber
Bieber and 2013 was Rivera. And they're the only two in the last 20 years. But I mean,
so it's tough.
You need to pitch like 3 innings now, right? They don't even really let you do that. Like, look at the rosters, man.
It's going to be
there's like 20 pitches on both teams. They've got to try and share it around.
You either need to look at this and you need to pick what starter is going to go 2 for 2 with a home run and lead them to a lead, and that's how it's going to work. Or you've got to pick a bench guy that you think could be the one that comes through at the clutch hit.
Yeah, the NL guys have a few like that, right? I mean, Jordan Walker, you want to talk narrative. Corbin Carroll, I just made the case for. PCA could come on, rob a home run, and then hit one himself, and he is maybe the most electric player in baseball.
Right.
James
Great
Wood.
Ball. 100%. But Travis
Otto
Lopez,
Lopez, Destiny draft legend.
What's a guy like Brandon Marsh paying to be MVP tomorrow?
great question. That's a good narrative as well, right?
In Philly. And a starter as well, right? Like the fact that he's starting and Bryce Harper's off the bench is
like he might just need to go 2 for 2 with 2 singles and an RBI.
Drive in a run, make a great
and
catch
a defensive
in the outfield.
Play.
Yeah.
I like that. That's good chat.
Spoon, and have a look at, and again, this like this is kind of what we did yesterday. We threw a bunch of stuff out. We threw a bunch of what at the wall, and most of it stuck. So we are on somewhat of a heater for these random bets that we're throwing out there. Spoon, have you seen a market
every
on
bench guy?
either team to win by a run, or either team sort of plus 1.5, or either team minus 1.5?
Yeah, they've got the margin out. On Sportsbet, it's 1.5 in favor of. So like you take the NL minus 1.5 because they're favorites at 250, or plus 1.5 at $1.55 for the AL. But I'm hoping it's not there yet. But usually
it's probably only correct score markets, right? You probably can't get either team to win by 1.
You can in typical baseball betting. So I'm hoping tomorrow these markets branch out a little bit more. Maybe they're waiting for weather or final confirmed lineup, because it's pretty thin at the moment. But I've been betting on All-Star games for a while, and the morning of, there's usually a hell of a lot more to choose from. Yeah. So I guess by that logic, you should be able to get maybe $4, $3.50 maybe about either team to win by exactly 1 run. And based on the numbers you presented, that'd be a good bet.
5-4 AL win, Bazana winning run.
Yeah, and I think especially a good bet if you could maybe even ladder that with either team to win by 2 or fewer around even money. Like if you could get $1.85, $1.90 and make that sort of your anchor bet.
So it's not going to be a blowout.
Yeah, because the numbers say that 15 of the last 20 years, 3 times there have been a 3-run margin, 1 time a 4-run margin, 1 time an 8-run margin. The other 15, it's been by 2 runs or fewer, and 9 of those 15 have been by 1.
I guess once they add alternate lines, you can do a same game multi effectively of both teams plus 1.5, right? Yeah. And that's serving that purpose. And both teams plus 2.5 covers the saver of the ladder.
Well, there you go. Hopefully you got something out of that. Again, Spoon hoping for baseball points tomorrow. He was able to do it today in the home run derby, over 74.5 home runs in the first round. He's going over 7.5 runs in the All-Star game tomorrow. Jordan, 2 or more total bases. Hope that he gets 3 plate appearances. And let's hope that it stays close. If you can find a market on a winning margin of 2 runs or less, or exactly 1, I think that's probably the way to play it with the way that the game has gone historically, at least in the last 2 decades. Eric, one final word from you.
I just wanted to ask, was the fair poll ever in play today?
Contreras smoked one off during a chorus of boos. It was biblical. Like it silenced the bank. They were almost jeering him because it looked like it was hooking foul. Like they were jeering all of his misses, and then it just like sculled off the foul pole and just silenced the place. It was like the Undertaker toll.
Boys, I got to go watch this now.
You should listen to this podcast more often, too, because Spoon and I talked about the fair poll a couple weeks. I'll send you that episode as well. It's a good show, this Baseball Experts.
I was the one that brought up the fair poll when you talked about it.
Maybe you were here for that show. I don't remember. It's hard to keep up.
Is Eric real, or is he just like a figment of our imagination?
Yeah, I don't even know if he's actually here. This is like a Fight Club scenario. Look, hit baseballexpats.com and you can check out Destiny Draft. And hit us up if you want to be part of the next Destiny Draft or any Destiny Draft this year. And we look forward to watching the All-Star game tomorrow. We will be back on Friday. We'll be talking about some trade deadline stuff and also having a look back at some of Spoon's preseason bets, what's on fire, what's not, and what we expect for the quote-unquote second half of the season. Enjoy the rest of the All-Star break. Enjoy your baseball tomorrow in the MLB All-Star game. We'll be back with you Friday. Until then, see you, everybody.